Yes, they fixed it.
At this time, call to order. At this time, I would like to call
His isn't on.
order.
Amp blue.
Beastie.
There
There you go. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Arencibia,
Present.
Lopez Zepeda,
Here.
Segura,
Here.
Aguirre.
Here. This is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on matters posted for the special meeting and in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3A. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the legislative body concerning any item that has been described in the notice for the meeting before or during consideration of that item. Each person wishing to address an item on the meeting notice in closed session will have 2 minutes to do so.
There are no speakers.
If there are no further communications, then I will recess the meeting for consideration of the following closed session items. Number 1, student expulsion, suspended expulsion reinstatement, Education Code Section 48916 to 48918, students identified by case and ID number. Number 2, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. Number 3, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. Number 4, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. We will now adjourn to closed session. At this time, I would like to reconvene the regular board meeting. We will now hold the swearing-in ceremony for our new student board representative, Ms. Liliana Davis.
All right. We're gonna do it over here.
Come up.
Yeah, right over here.
Make sure that both of them are.
Yep. They are.
So, I'm gonna ask you to repeat after me. And there's one section where I say, state your name, you state your name, and then we're gonna go little by little, and you go from that point forward. This is the oath of office for the student representative of the governing board. I state your name.
I, Liliana Davis,
Okay. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Everybody get that photograph together.
Family's here.
Don't get nervous. You'll be doing this a lot more, so.
For the group here.
A little closer for this one. Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, and 3. More.
May I please? Thank you. I'm the mom, dad, and tia, and godmother.
Next, by the way.
Okay, go. Let's go. Oh, okay. What, actually in the picture? Que alguien la tome. Okay, I'll leave you. Okay.
Of course.
We'll be running a ragged, you know that.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah. Here we go.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Congratulations. The clerk of the board, can you please call roll?
Arencibia,
Present.
Emerald. Here. Lopez Zepeda,
Here.
Segura,
Here.
Solis,
Present.
Aguirre,
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Okay. We will now hold a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The board met in closed session preceding this meeting to discuss the following issues. Number one, student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, Education Code Section 48916 to 48918, students identified by case and ID number. Number two, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. Number three, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. And number four, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. The board took the following action. Moved on by Solis and seconded by Segura to approve the reinstatement of one student with a vote of Arancibia, yes, Emerald, yes, Lopez Cepeda, yes, Segura, yes, Solis, yes. Moved by Solis and seconded by Lopez Cepeda to approve the request for leave of absence for one certificated employee with a vote of Arancibia, yes, Emerald, yes, Lopez Cepeda, yes, Segura, yes, Solis, yes. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the July 8th, 2024 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Davis?
Yes.
Arancibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And now we will have a message from our superintendent, Dr. Moises Aguirre.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arancibia. Good evening and buenas tardes to everybody. Welcome to our July 8th meeting of the Board of Education. First and foremost, again, just to extend and reiterate my congratulations and welcoming Ms. Davis to the dais. This will be a brief update since we have just completed summer session and we're on break. This morning, I had an opportunity to attend the professional development experience with our assistant principals that was led by Dr. Winters and his team. Thank you for that. Dr. Winters, it was great to see everybody back on return from their break. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize the work of our communications department. They awarded a recognition by the National School Public Relations Association for a video that highlights our school districts, schools, and programs. The title of that video was Building Brighter Futures. So I just wanted to extend my congratulations, and in particular to Mr. Omar De Leon. I must say, he truly is a master at content development for any of you who've seen his videos, so congratulations. And with that, that's a very brief update for this afternoon.
We will now have a report from the student board representative, Ms. Liliana Davis.
Since we are on school break and I have not yet had the opportunity to meet with the ASB presidents of our district, I do not have a collected perspective of current student life. Many students are traveling, relaxing, and of course working on AP summer assignments. We return to school in just about 2 weeks, and freshman orientations as well as preparations for freshman orientations will begin next week. In regards to summer session ended about a week ago, and most credits are in the process of being transferred to students' transcripts. Thank you.
Next, the board members all received a copy of their annual CBOC chair report. Are there any questions from the board? None for the record. This is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on any matter not on the agenda and have 3 minutes each to do so. Pursuant to board bylaw, the board may limit the time for public comment on any single topic to 20 minutes per topic. The Board of Trustees cannot legally take action on or respond to matters not posted on the public agenda, but will refer the matter to the superintendent's office for review and report. Speakers shall refrain from using profanity and shall speak in a respectful manner. Thank you for your cooperation.
I have one speaker, Jack Robson.
Good evening. My name is Jack Robson. I'm with Cornerstone Communities. I'm here tonight to speak regarding a project that I have adjacent to the San Isidro High School. This item was supposed to be on the agenda for today, but had to get pulled because they're still working on the language. What's happening is we're developing this project called Candlelight. And as you can see, this is your school district. We're taking Caliente Road and we're extending it from the terminus right now here at this point all the way to Abrams Parkway. In doing so, we're going past the corner of the school site, and this is a detention basin down your school site. That detention basin takes all the water from the school site, drains it into this outfall, and drains right now into open space. These homes aren't here right now, but they will be, and so the water is just draining out the outfall into this district. Once the Caliente is extended, then we will take that drain pipe and tie it into the city storm drain system. So that is the proposal. that we have. We're working with the city. We've been working on this project for about 6 years now. The way the process works, we submit our plans to the city, improvement plans. They give us comments back. We address those comments. We submit it back to the city. Give us more comments. We're in our third round right now. One of the comments is that we get the permission of the Sweetwater Union High School to allow us to do this work. This work is not done on the school property. I gave you a packet right here. Page number 1 shows the trees out there, which is your basin. And the water right now currently runs from that basin out to the end of the cul-de-sac. That cul-de-sac will be extended. And if you turn to page 2, it shows you that area that we're building the extension of Caliente. And then to the left, to the right is the blow-up of that stormwater outfall. I know you can't speak on the issue tonight, but we've been working on this with the school district since January. We thought we might get it approved tonight, but there's still some issues that we need to resolve with them. This is the last item I need to get my plans approved with the city of San Diego, and I was hoping this would happen tonight. The next meeting is in August, and I'd like to if you could give the school district permission to let me finish processing with council, and I'm working with Iden. Janae was out to the project. She saw the project. It's not a big deal, but I don't think the school district understands it, so we met out on the site. We all met with Janaea. We met with Jason Burst, construction. We met with Ron Malone, and the gentleman that set up the meeting, Iden, couldn't make it. He's the one I've been working with, trying to get him to understand what we're trying to do. And it's been a lot of back and forth, so we figured a school visit would help, and which I think it did. I think you all understood what was going on, and we had this earmarked for tonight and had to get pulled for the reasons I guess council is still going over it. So I'd rather not wait until the next meeting. I'd rather, if we could just work with the school district and they can give you a nod to allow you to, to approve this prior to the next meeting. I really need to get my plans back into the city and continue on with the project. But if you go through the packet, everything's on there. It's something that we really need to make happen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Aguirre, can we have staff, work on this and be able to actually figure out how we proceed for the next meeting or how we're going to do it, I guess?
Staff will definitely follow up. I can't necessarily make
Thank
a
you so
commitment
much.
to any
you
particular
so
type
much.
of action.
There are no further speakers.
That means we are at F3.
No, sir, you need to do the
Oh,
consent
I'm sorry.
agenda first.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. Clerk of the board, would you please read the items being pulled from the consent agenda?
The following items are pulled: F3 by staff, G2 by Mr. Segura, M4 by Ms. Emerald, R1 by staff, and R2 by staff.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So, second.
Davis,
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald,
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda,
Yes.
Segura,
Yes.
Solis.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Now we move on to F3.
Correct.
Go for it. Do I have any folks from the dais that want to speak? No?
I will speak. I will speak.
Go for it.
First and foremost, Ms. Davis, welcome. We're going to have lots of fun. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to have lots of fun. I hope everybody's enjoying their summer break and in the back of their mind thinking that classes will start soon and hopefully everybody will be well rested and ready to get going. Okay, that's my message.
Trustee Emerald.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I wanted to acknowledge Christina Fox in the back of the room. our assistant superintendent, and who's been a whiz at carrying out our voter registration drive, and now beginning our next big district-wide project, CPR AED training for staff and for students. And I'm not going to call on her to give us an update tonight, but I did wanted to acknowledge she's probably one of the hardest working people in this district in taking on these very aggressive projects, not only to help our students find a place within the democracy and to become voters, but also to make sure that more people on our campuses will know how to save a life if need be. And I know that we're currently getting more AEDs to install on our campuses. Later this month, there will be trainings at, I know, Montgomery High School and is it Rancho? Yep. And to train up staff members who are in positions to say, working in the physical education and other areas where they might wind up seeing medical emergencies and can help. And then we'll be moving on to students, 7th and 8th graders and 9th and 10th graders in the district. And the idea is to create a comprehensive program, which Ms. Fox is doing on a daily basis here, so that we can be our district designated as a heart-safe district. Very important designation. It tells the community that we care about public safety and that we are doing our best to train up students and staff to be able to respond in emergencies and save lives. So thank you, Christina, for everything you're doing. I'm looking forward to being back in action here, registering voters and also being part of the CPR AED training. Is there anything you'd like to add to these important projects that you've got going? Nope, she's saying, nope, I'm safe right back here. Okay, hey, thank you again for all the work you're doing. You're terrific. Thank you for your time.
I will be real brief, Mr. President. I'd just like to welcome back all the educators who do take a break, and hopefully they're feeling reinvigorated and ready for the new school year. And I look forward to that, and hope those who are still resting are enjoying their time off, and we look forward to seeing them back too. And that's all I have.
And I kind of feel the pain of administrators since I am married to an administrator, and they're coming back to school this week. And I just want to say, I know it's been too short of a break, but we look forward to having you back and to working towards the goals we set forward for this semester and this year. And also want to give props to the teachers and the students. The scores from AP and IB exams have just come in. And I'm going to give props to my kid, because my kid's special. No, I'm joking. They worked really, really hard. And I'm amazed at the effort that the instructors put forward to make sure that they're supported. And I'm amazed at the effort that students put forward. And it's stressful. That time period is very, very stressful. Students are not getting enough sleep, and they're worried about what's going to happen on the exams. But our instructors and our teachers did a wonderful job of preparing them. And I'd like to say thanks to every one of the teachers that actually prepared our students for those exams, because I know how much it means when you apply to college, but also seeing the face on our kids when they succeed. Man, it makes it all worth it. All the drives up to school, all the drives back from school, it makes it really, really special. So with that, I'm going to finish up, and I guess we're going to go forward onto the next agenda item. Item G2.
Thank you, Dr. Arancibia. This item is the approval of the Career Technical Education Stakeholder Advisory Committee and appointment of new members to that committee for the 24-25 school year. Dr. Alvarez, is there any context you'd like to provide? I am noting that it was Dr. Segura who pulled the item.
I got an upgrade.
I'm sorry, Dr. Alvarez, I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody's upgrading everything.
Yes. So I did pull it, and yeah, I was just pulling it because I was so grateful to see that, and appreciative to see that a couple organizations I'm familiar with, IBW 569 Electrical Workers Union, Christina Marquez is the environmental organizer there. She's on here, and Sarah Simpson from their ETI, their Electrical Training Institute, is on there as well as Nathan Hammerstein, a IATSE, which is, for those who don't know it, IATSE 122 is IATSE in general IATSE is the union that represents a lot of the stagehand workers and those craftspeople. So there's a lot of opportunity there. My son's actually a member of 122 IATSE, so I know our CTE and staff has been doing a real good job in not only making those relationships, but actually doing and reaching out to them and learning about them and welcoming those organizations in who are experts in their fields. And I'm just so glad to see that. And I know that they have fruitful meetings, when they have, I forget how often they are, once or twice a year or something. Yes. So I know there's been some good work being done there. So that's all I have on G2.
I want to say something else. I mean, we've been kind of in this transformative phase of 4 years. This is my 4th year on the board. The levity that we feel in this meeting and our capacity to actually pick out really great folks and have everyone in consensus with it. It doesn't go as something easy. It's taken us 4 years to get here, but it's also really wonderful to see the levity and everybody happy with the decisions that we're making as a board. And with that, I'll just make the motion to approve this.
Davis?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Cepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
The next item up is item M4, pulled by Ms. Emerald.
Yes, and I pulled this item because when I first read it a couple of days ago, I roared. I was very upset that this contract for Mar Vista Academy painting and putting in new floors was rescinded. I've since learned some of the details, and I wanted to call on Ms. Quirk right now to tell us what's happened with this contract and how soon can we get on board with making some improvements at a school that really needs a lot of attention.
So before we go there, I do believe there's
Yeah.
some context. There is a significant construction project that is forthcoming. That's the good news. This particular bid, there was some problems with, and I'll ask Ms. Quirk to discuss. But in the longer term, there is a construction project that will be coming forward for Mar Vista Academy to exactly address those concerns about the physical space, the campus. So that's the exciting part, but I'll ask Ms. Quirk to share some of that information. Ms.
Yeah,
Quirk.
and maybe as part of that, you can tell us what we can look forward to and what the time frame is for these broader projects. And the reason I'm concerned, it's a scar on the community. It's what people see when they get off the freeway at Coronado Avenue, this enormous field that's been overgrown for years, a school that's set way back, and people wonder, there's a school there. And yeah, there is. And it was a school with a problem past. It was under the care of the county for a time because this district wasn't taking good enough care of the school. And so it's there in my community that I represent, and I really want to see action. So that's why I got upset when I saw this rescinding, and I really would like to inform the public, let them know through this meeting and perhaps further communications in the community exactly what is going on there and what they can look forward to. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Quirk. Thank you, and thank you, Superintendent Aguirre.
Thank you. Good evening. So this bid right here was actually for a very small project that we were lining up in preparation for the large capital project that's on its way. The project that's in DSA and coming out very shortly, and we anticipate bidding, is the new admin administration student services building combined with 2 special education mod severe suite and life skills classroom space, in addition to a new event center and quad renovations. It also includes campus-wide painting and the removal of portables from the property in itself. This bid here came in over budget for a very small project and was deemed by staff to not be cost efficient for us. And so we're reorganizing and repackaging how we're going to approach this work. It is needed and essential in order for the larger project, and they are putting those pieces into motion right now. And so this is a pivotal piece for us to be ready for construction, which is anticipated, I'm going to say, somewhere between December and January, potentially February of 2025, but right around the corner.
Right around the corner in another 5 months or so.
In the world of construction, DSA, and public bidding, absolutely.
All right, so you're saying that right after the first of the year, you're predicting that we're going to see sticks in the air and work being done to make some long-needed improvements there.
So we will update our project flyer for that project with the renderings, which we've shared out already in the past, and we'll do so again. And we'll provide updated timelines for when we're going to come out of DSA and what our bidding trajectory and construction start time is.
Okay, terrific. And we'll have perhaps some more discussions along the way to make sure that this is on target and that we're going to see this works beginning after the first of the year.
This project is 100% on target, yes.
I have one more question, and I know it's not specific to the building itself, but there's a huge empty lot there that has been overgrown grass and, again, a real eyesore. What do you plan on doing with that big space, perhaps to make it a little more welcoming as people are coming into the community?
So I'm actually going to volley this one back to my boss, Dr. Aguirre, so he can respond to that one.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you for that, Ms. Quirk. So that particular facility is a really interesting facility because of the size of the particular property. There's ongoing discussions around the next steps. Some of the things that we are likely to explore is a potential for subdividing the property and then working to identify the most appropriate method for working with developers on that particular site. That's one possibility. The other is to work, that particular property is the city of San Diego, but we could work with them as well. So there's different possibilities, but that's definitely on our radar. There's a couple of campuses where their facility is really kind of large for the footprint that we have, particularly in light of declining enrollment. So one of the next steps is really to receive that projected demographic study so that we can really plan better along where do we believe our student body is going to be in terms of its enrollment. Because if we are indeed experiencing this decline in enrollment, that will help inform how we proceed. In other words, we may not necessarily need the totality of that existing property footprint as it exists. So there's some next steps there. But that demographic study from that entity that works with us, it's called Davis Demographics, is going to be that key thing. Because if at that point it tells us that enrollment is likely to continue declining, that it will basically inform us that we can proceed with plans to surplus. And then there's another set of state laws that we must go through in order to be able to surplus property. It's through a committee, which we colloquially call the 7-Eleven committee. It's not the convenience store. But there's a process that we have to go through in order to surplus district property as it is government property. But those again are steps that we could look at. But this particular project is a construction project to improve the facility, the footprint that currently exists. That particular plot of property is something that we are looking at as it's a possibility for surplusing that.
Gotcha, and that might be affordable housing, it might be any number of things.
Right.
But the longer we take, and I know this is an issue for a lot of the West Side schools that don't have Mello-Roos available to build new facilities. And the longer we neglect or defray repairs, improvements, the more kids are going to leave. So I believe anyway, I think that the best way to keep our population up is to make sure that we have schools that are pleasant to come to, where students feel they are valued, and where parents feel confident that the school district is really supporting the efforts that go on under the roof. And that's why I am very concerned about this, because I don't want to see the population continue to drop. And then the desire to put money into it to wane. So I think that I've made myself pretty clear, and we'll be in touch. And I'm looking forward to the beginning of the year when we can see sticks in the ground and improvements being made at this site, okay? Thank you very much. I appreciate your information.
All right. We will move on to item.
Move to rescind.
Still need, thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Solis.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
I'll make that motion. Or
Mr.
second.
Solis made a motion, thank you. Davis?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Item R1.
So thank you so much, President Ancibia. For this one, I'll ask Dr. Sokol to introduce, as we are now moving for this legislative body to act as the Belarus legislative body. I'll ask Dr. Sokol to introduce, and I believe there's somebody here to actually present the information. So with that, Dr. Sokol.
Thank you, Dr. Aguirre, and good evening, President Arencibia, board members. What we're bringing forward on this agenda item is the special tax levy for 24-25. The district has 21 CFDs, as we know them, they're community facility districts. And what we're bringing forward is a resolution that needs to go to the County of San Diego by August 10th. And so it is a year-long process that we work very closely with Special District Financing Administration and with Stephen Galt specifically. We look at all of our different reporting cycles throughout the year, including our estimated actuals, like we did in June, along with our budget for 24-25. And so what Mr. Galt's going to be going through today is going through that methodology, the basis for those rates, and what we're bringing forward in the resolution for the board action today. We also did comply with the noticing period. We did notice this work with the Star News on May 24th as well as June 21st, which is required. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Galt to the podium here to present, and here's the clicker, so that he can go through the specifics on how we derive the information in the resolution before you.
Good evening, Superintendent and Board and public. As was mentioned, my name is Stephen Gald. I'm with Special District Financing Administration. We work on behalf of the school district to help in the ongoing management of each of the 20-plus CFDs formed by the district. So again, as mentioned, the CFD administration or management process is an ongoing process throughout the year. But one time a year, we come to the board and discuss how the CFD special taxes will be levied for the upcoming fiscal year. So very quickly, the district has over 20 CFDs in total, and within these CFDs, in the last fiscal year that we're just coming out of, there was a total of 30,198 parcels which paid a tax to support the ongoing construction and improvements of facilities of the school district. Each CFD, each unit within the CFD is taxed once a building permit for the construction of a residential home is pulled, and each unit has a period of time in which they pay those taxes. Once those taxes are satisfied, they no longer have an obligation to pay the ongoing tax. What this table shows you here is, like I mentioned, approximately 32,000 units were taxed last fiscal year. And this fiscal year, that number will be down to 27,883. And the majority of this change is simply due to individual properties fulfilling their obligation to pay, which can run, depending on the CFD they're in, from 25 to 30 years. So you can see there in the second column where 2,652 units had satisfied their CFD obligation, with another 665 units actually adding or being constructed and will be taxed in the first fiscal year. So when we identify those properties that will be assessed a tax based on their building permit status and if they had satisfied their overall obligation. Once that's determined, we work with district staff through an established methodology and practice of the district to figure out what level of taxation will each one of these properties get. Based on the district's past practices and policies, the process is to, number one, evaluate what each individual CFD's obligation to fund the construction of new seats are, then evaluate their obligation to provide money for the extension of useful life of projects, and then compare that overall to the funding received by that CFD on an individual by individual basis. So as we've done in past years, I'll share with you an example. So in this case, this is an example from CFD number 11. And again, this is done individually for each and every CFD that the district has formed. What we start with is, we start with the expected number of units to be constructed within the CFD, and then we apply a student generation rate, or the propensity of a home within that CFD to generate a student, and we get the total number of students we expect to need to house from those CFDs. In this case, if you look here for CFD number 11, you had it was expected that that CFD number 11 would generate the need for 222 middle school seats and 456 high school seats. If you look here, as mentioned, we do this for every single school, every single CFD. So you can see here on the left-hand side, CFD 1 through 20, and then we have the projected students for middle school and high school. We then, on an ongoing basis, evaluate the various projects completed by the school district, and we apply credits to each one of these CFDs so we can calculate what are the remaining unfunded seats. We do this not only looking at what's been funded in the past, but we also do a projection of what we think will be funded over the next 12 months. And for that reason, you'll see sometimes as we go from year to year and we're in front of you, you'll see slight differences in the remaining obligations. And that is because sometimes projects are accelerated, we build them quicker than we thought, and sometimes they are delayed or extended or potentially even rescoped to change the number of seats. Once we establish the need for additional unfunded seats for each of the CFDs, we assign a cost to those seats based on an ongoing update from the facilities department on what is the current market for the construction costs of new facilities for the school district specifically. Once that's completed, we take that same methodology on a projected student basis, and we do a similar analysis, but we look at understanding that the CFD, term of the CFD will run anywhere on an individual basis from 25 to 30 years, but as a complete CFD as many as 40 or 50 years. We also look and accommodate the need to continue to invest in those facilities even if they're built at the beginning, and we call them projects to extend useful life. And based on the number of students projected within each CFD, we do the same thing. We evaluate the total obligation, and then we subtract from that number any of the projects that have been funded by the school district from inception of each of the CFDs to the end. And that gets us the remaining obligation there for what we call projects to extend useful life. These two types of projects, obligations, are added together, and we come up with the total remaining obligation on the right-hand side. That becomes kind of our steering point when evaluating, number one, does the district need to continue to assess a tax within each individual CFD, as well as at what level does that tax need to be assessed? So we've got the CFDs, we've got the remaining obligation, and then the district currently has funds on hand that they've been collecting from these CFDs over time that will be applied to projects going forward. To establish what we believe is on hand for the total CFDs is we go through the district's financial results, and we put together both a current balance as well as a projected balance through June 30th, 2025 to establish how much money has been collected and is still in the bank for each of these CFDs so that it can be compared to what the remaining obligations are. So we take the money in the bank, we take the obligation, subtract the money in the bank, and we get just the bottom line number. And that's here on the right-hand side under C. And you can see in each case for all 20 of the district CFDs, there's a remaining unfunded obligation. And what that does is it validates for the district and their staff and consultants that it is appropriate to continue to levy taxes within each of the CFDs in the upcoming fiscal year. So now, if approved this evening, we will work with district staff to file the paperwork needed to submit the special taxes to the County of San Diego. The County of San Diego will administer the tax through the standard property tax bill process on behalf of the school district. And they will report back to the school district what has been collected, including identifying any delinquencies, et cetera. The resolution that you're approving today does two things. Number one, it sets the maximum tax rate that could be taxed on a newly developed property within each one of the CFDs, and that's the exhibits attached to the resolution, as well as it provides direction to the staff to move forward and coordinate with the property tax collector of the County of San Diego on the submission of the taxes. So the staff recommendation for this year is that to continue to hold off or continue to not levy taxes within CFD number 2 due to the fact that it had satisfied its obligation a few years back. And then for the balance of the CFDs, to continue forward with the practice of taxing at approximately 98% of the maximum for those listed there, and then for CFD 17 through 20, tax at 100% of the maximum. Any questions?
Just for clarification, can you share with us if this is part of the disclosures that homeowners sign when they purchase property?
Correct, yes. So pursuant to the Mello-Roos Act, each homeowner, when they're considering purchasing a property within any CFD across the state, is required to receive in writing a disclosure that outlines the level of special tax that they'll be subject to. If that special tax changes from year to year, will it be standard or will it go up by 2%? As well as what are the improvements that special tax is being spent on. So as an example, if you were to purchase a home within a CFD of the school district, it would outline those first 2 points, and then it would have information about the facilities that the school district would be spending the dollars on. And that's a required disclosure that must be signed by the actual property purchaser no less than 3 days before the close of escrow. In addition to that, and I forgot to mention it in the flip book, but in addition to what you've seen here and what's being approved by the board today, the district does update and post a more detailed analysis of the calculation of each of the CFD's obligations on the district's website, which can be accessed by public both that may live within a CFD as well as those that do not.
Thank you. And then Dr. Salko, can you please let us know where on the district's website that information can be found? Is it under the finance department, or can you please share that with us? Thank you.
Okay.
Move to adopt resolution number 4916.
Second.
Davis?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
R2.
This is, again, another resolution, the board acting as the legislative body for the Community Facilities District. Dr. Salko, can you please introduce the item?
Thank you, Dr. Gary. This is the final step because we've started this back in May, and then we had some action and was another an item in June. And this is the final kind of completion in terms of the next steps with the annexation.
There's actually a script, Dr. Arencibia, on page 6, if you could
Page 6.
follow that.
The one in the handout?
No, in your,
There it is. R2, okay.
starting with
The governing board?
Yes.
Okay. The governing board will now address matters related to Community Facilities District Number 10 of the Sweetwater Union High School District. The board shall now be acting as a legislative body of CFD Number 10. Conduct the second reading of ordinance number 25 entitled Ordinance of Community Facilities District Number 10 of the Sweetwater Union High School District authorizing the levy of special taxes on certain property annexed to CFD 10.
The first reading of ordinance number 25 took place at the June 24th, 2024 board meeting. A copy of proposed ordinance number 25 has been posted as required and has been made available at the district's main office for inspection by any interested member of the public.
At this time, I request a motion for a second reading of ordinance number 25 by reading of the title only.
So moved.
Second.
Davis?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald,
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda,
Yes.
Segura,
Yes.
Solis.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
The motion is approved by a majority. Ms. Pesedo, please present the second reading of the ordinance number 25 by reading the ordinance title only.
The title of ordinance number 25 reads as follows. Ordinance of Community Facilities District Number 10 of the Sweetwater Union High School District, authorizing the levy of special taxes on certain property annexed to CFD Number 10.
At this time, I request a motion for adoption of ordinance number 25.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Davis?
Yes.
Arencibia?
Yes.
Emerald?
Yes.
Lopez Zepeda?
Yes.
Segura?
Yes.
Solis?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
The matters related to CFD number 10 scheduled for tonight are now complete, and the board will now cease acting as the legislative body of CFD number 10. And with that, the regular board meeting is now adjourned.